I got interested in filmmaking in general. Kumbaga hindi siya specific to filmmaking, yung broadcast communication, di ba? In fact, when I was a student, mas yun nga, like you mentioned in the introduction, I was more into broadcast journalism. Even yung thesis ko was actually a documentary. I made a documentary for my graduation thesis. It was about war and terrorism, the coverage of media practitioners of war and terrorism in Mindanao. So when I was in fourth year college, kasi sa UP Diliman, allowed kayo mag-thesis partner when you're doing a production thesis. So syempre may paper aspect pa rin, pero pag ipoproduce nyo siya into an actual video, allowed kayo mag-partner up sa thesis. So yung thesis namin, we flew to Mindanao and spent like almost 2 weeks traveling all over different parts of Mindanao to make a documentary about the MILF war and the Abu Sayyaf hostage back at that time. So yun, mas docu-journalism, broadcast journalism yung interest ko at the beginning. But then, na-spark na yung interest ko in filmmaking, directing, writing when I was a student. But it really wasn't after I graduated that I started taking, yung mga workshops natin kay Sir Ricky, ganyan. Doon pa lang ako really nag-delve into filmmaking talaga.
Kasi yun nga, no, I would like to ask you, bakit hindi ka nag-film school, hindi ka nag-film major, no? At
the beginning, no?
But nag-broadcast ka.
With me, it was because when I was in high school, my interest really was to I got interested in working in television in general. I was really an avid television consumer. I liked reading books also. I liked watching films, but siguro being an only child, television was my constant company kasi, no? Ito yung mga tipong syempre back then wala pang Netflix, wala pang catch-up television. So ito yung talagang, it's either you go home, I have to get home by this time para maabutan ko yung favorite television show ko, ganong klase. And then may VCR ako, yung VHS recorder na magre-record at certain times of the week para ma-record for sure yung episodes na pinapanood ko. I was that kind of media consumer back then. So the dream was to work in television. And personally, I was thinking at the beginning, I really wanted to become a journalist. My dream was to become the next syempre back then si Angelo Castro Jr. Si Angelo Castro Jr. The World Tonight, exactly. So my friend and I, ang dream namin, siya yung magiging next Lauren Legarda. I'll be the next Angelo Castro Jr. So it was really broadcast journalism at the beginning. But that's what I love about college. No? It opens your mind about possibilities. Pagdating ko sa UP, I never thought of myself as a writer when I was in high school. Halimbawa, mga tawag dito, yung mga play, yung mga production sa school. I was never the writer. I was never the director. I was not even an actor. Usually, props man ako. Nasa behind the scenes ako, ganyan-ganyan. But it was in college na wala kang choice. If you're in broadcast communication, you have to write your scripts. You have to learn about how to write for television, the formats, for radio also, ganon-ganon. So doon nabuksan yung isip ko about writing. And then, because of orgs namin, na-expose din ako to video making. And then, mas na-immerse ako on how to craft stories using images. So yun na, nagsimula ng interest ko to direct in directing.
So after graduation, I took up scriptwriting workshop under Sir Ricky, or hindi pa?
Hindi pa rin. Hindi pa. When I graduated with a degree in broadcast communication, I actually went to law school. Pumasa kasi ako sa UP Law, and it was just yung thesis partner ko talaga ang gusto mag-law school. And then nakapasa ako, siya hindi. So sabi niya, uy, that's meant for you. Kasi ako nga gusto kong pumasok sa law school, tapos hindi ako nakapasok. Ikaw, you weren't even planning na pasok ka. So para sa'yo yan. So I actually spent 3 semesters pa in law school. before I started feeling na hinahanap ng sistema ko talaga yung media, storytelling, ganyan. So, I filed for a leave of absence in law school. Literally, in the middle of the semester, biglang, shit, kailangan ko talaga gano'n. So, tumawag ako sa mami ko, Ma'am, mag-LOA na lang ako, ganyan-ganyan. And then the next day, hindi na ako pumasok. Hindi na ako, nag-aaral ako for recitation, hindi na ako pumasok. And then, at that time, may upcoming workshop si Sir Ricky that he was conducting for ABS-CBN. So the workshop was specific to
TV writers.
For TV writers. So, parang it was in collaboration with ABS. It was going to train people interested in writing para makakuha ang ABS ng pool of writers na pwede nilang i-deploy into writing teleseries. So it wasn't really my interest to become a writer, but that was Sir Ricky kasi, di ba? So filmmaking in general. And at that time, I was just hungry to learn more. And yeah, so I applied. And then para siyang PBB na ang haba-haba ng pila sa ABS. Tapos daming nag-apply. And then I applied, nakipila ako doon. And I think they said mga around 10,000 ba? Kasi meron pa sa ibang may manggaling pa sa ibang may mga nanggaling sa Davao, lumipad pa ng Manila para makapag-apply, ganon. And at the end of it, I was part of the batch, na first batch nung writers. So yun na, nagsimula na, tuloy-tuloy na. Syempre sa writing, and then I got into Star Cinema. So the interest was really in general filmmaking. I knew that I wanted to helm stories, which meant directing also, di ba? Writing became an avenue to become a director. But I never saw myself as a writer talaga. But along the way, I acquired the skill, and now I can't think of another path na parang hindi ko ma-imagine na hindi ko in-acquire dapat, na hindi ko pa na-acquire yung skill ng writing. It was very important in becoming the director that I am now, that I learned the things that I did about script writing first.
Kasi kanina na-mention mo yung Catch Up TV, no? More on appointment TV yung naabutan natin, no, na kailangan yun nga, yes. na kailangan kapag may palabas ngayong 7:00, no, dapat naka-tune in ka dun sa television set, no, so that you'll be able to start the program. And now, no, yung new generation, that now that I also mentioned that you're teaching, no, yung new generation mas sanay sila sa streaming, no, or binge watching pagkatapos na nung buong season, nung on demand. Ano?
Yeah.
So I also mentioned that you directed, no, a series, Hello Heart, for a streaming platform, iQIYI. iQIYI nga ba? Tama nga ba yung aking?
Yes, iQIYI.
iQIYI. No, how would you differentiate, no, yung directing mo for appointment TV or the free TV,
free TV
as compared
basically
to directing programs for streaming platforms?
Although of course technically now even output that we create for free TV is technically nagiging na rin, di ba, on demand na rin. Kumbaga, unlike before na parang aantayin mo na mag-replay yung isang episode ng maalaala mo kaya na lumabas na. Ngayon, it's possible to catch up. Yun nga, parang kasi sa I Want TFC, meron na din nung parang like the past 4 episodes pwede mong makita, no? And sometimes they upload it also on YouTube. But you're right in the sense that most programming of networks that are airing on Kapamilya channel, kasi yun yung Kapamilya Online Live and Kapamilya channel ang pinaka natitirang talagang owned by ABS yung programming. Kasi the others are block timers na lang, A to Z, some programs on TV5, exactly. So when you consider how I direct for Maalaala Mo Kaya, because that's my parang my home program on ABS, and the way that I directed in Hello Heart when I did for iQIYI. for that particular project, when I did it for iQIYI, I was able to apply more of my filmic sensibilities because the way the production was laid out, series siya. So alam na namin from the very beginning that one season of Hello Heart is gonna be 8 episodes. And nakalatag yung takbo ng storya, and nakalatag na rin yung shooting days. Alam namin that it will play around ilan ba? I forgot na pero siguro mga around 22 ganito shooting days. Hindi ko lang maalala yung exact number. So from there, may freedom kami I had more freedom to devote more time and resources in crafting the visuals and all the elements that go into it. When you compare that to Maalaala Mo Kaya. Maalaala Mo Kaya kasi is mas short pa rin yung period, no? Kasi every episode of Maalaala Mo Kaya, since the pandemic, when we got reduced from our usual 1.5 hour time slot, naging 1 hour time slot na lang kami on television. So mas maikli. Dati, ang 1.5 hour time slot namin is actually around 1 hour material, 30 minutes for commercials. The 1 hour material is actually shot in 3 days before. But now, in a 1 hour time slot, the actual material is probably 40. Around mga 40, mga 35 to 40. If you take away yung mga embedded plugs, di ba? Pag minsan makikita mo yung trailer for the next episode or merong konting text nyo, title promo, ganyan. So kasama yun sa running time. And syempre, because it's in part of what the program does for engagement, talagang naglalaan kami ng oras para doon. So let's say mga around 35 to 40 minutes ang running time ngayon. We only shoot that for 2 days now. So when it's 2 days, and especially may bagong dalang challenges ang pandemic taping nowadays, mas talaga, ang daming adjustments that you had to do. And due to the pandemic, actually before the pandemic, ABS was one of the first, and I believe we're the first to have started implementing yung make cap yung number of shooting hours. So even before the start of the pandemic, nag-18 hours na lang, 18 to 20 hours lang ang shooting dapat, ang taping. So para yun sa health and wellness and just better production overall. Pero dahil sa pandemic, mas na-reduce pa yon, naging 12 hours na lang. So for MMK, although we followed the same rules for Hello Heart, but for MMK, 2 araw na nga lang, 12 hours each pa. So mas mas ang nagiging primary is how to tell the story given the resources that you have. Meanwhile, when I was doing Hello Heart, I had more freedom because I was able to, kumbaga parang meron kaming mga certain scenes na I'm able to sit down with my executive producer and tell her na we will need more time for this particular scene. At alam rin naman niya kung aling mga eksena yung mga, in a way, money scenes mo, no? Yung mga expect mo na ito yung unang romantic eksena nila, or ito yung meet cute nilang dalawa, parang ganyan, di ba? So alam mo kailangan malalaki yung eksenang yon. So na-budget namin. Kumbaga siguro for that day, kung ang normal mo is you wanna be able to do 20 sequences a day, pag alam mo may mga malalaki kang eksenang ganon, mas nababudget nyo so that it will be just mga around 10 sequences kasi meron kang malalaking eksena. So for those scenes, I was able to apply more of yung mga filmic sensibilities ko talaga. like the way I mount that the scenes. But generally naman you try to do that. I try to do that with even with your my MMK, or when I was doing A Soldier's Heart, ganun din kasi may mga malalaking eksena ka pa rin, ganun. Pero pag umaabot lang talaga na yung meron kang deliverables it's either matapos mo yan or hindi aabot sa airing yan, di ba? Parang ganon. Pag inaabutan ka na nun, sometimes you really have to make compromises. And with films, we're not saying you don't make compromises in films. Pero siguro kasi you're able to sit down longer with your production team and flesh out the planning. So maaga pa lang, you don't really feel like you're making big compromises. But with any kind of production, you always make compromises, di ba? Hindi naman lahat na susunod. Hindi lahat ng, kahit na yung mga malalaking directors like sina Direct Kathy or sina Direct Chito, they will always run up against may limitasyon, whether sa budget or sa oras. So laging may compromise na kailangan. Pero pag sa television kasi, mas madalas mo na i-encounter yung compromise kasi pag hindi tayo nag-compromise, hindi tayo ere mamayang gabi. And lagot tayo pag hindi tayo umere. And nangyayari yan sa television. May mga panahon talaga na makikita mo na parang 10 minuto ng purong commercial to Yung pala, hindi pa
wala
tapos yung edit. Wala, oo. Yung last body pala ay hindi pa tapos i-edit. And that's happened in the past.
Yes.
I've seen it literally. It hasn't happened with me, thankfully, but that happens talaga.
Oo. Dapat kasi aware din yung mga students dito. Kasi minsan din, habang nanonood ako ng soap opera, bakit itong last body, parang music video na lang na puro mukha na lang ng mga artista. Ganun Kasi yun yung pinakamadali mong matapos para maisalang, no? Or naghihintay ka, hindi na siya bumalik. No, commercials pa rin. Tapos wala na, tapos exactly. Nag-wrap up na yung kasi hindi natapos yung last segment.
Oo.
Last body.
Ang malalapan niyan is pag minsan napapaere na may mga hindi napansin na lumampas. Kumbaga dahil sa pagmamadali kasi nga hand to mouth na yung tawag namin sa TV, parang pag hand to mouth na. Literally pag minsan may isa pa kami term live airing na. Ibig sabihin talaga literal na nagsimula na yung first body ng programa mo. Kumbaga kunwari anong oras na ba ngayon? Kunwari it's already 7. So nag-start na yung first body ng MMK kunwari.
Sige, MMK.
Kunwari A Soldier's Heart. Alas 7, nag-start na yung first body. Ine-edit pa namin yung last 2 bodies nun for that day. So pag minsan nangyayari yon. So pag minsan third body na, wala ka ng choice, kailangan may pasa mo na to. And it has happened in the past na talagang pag minsan hindi malinis yung graphics or parang may hindi nabura na something or may nawalang audio kasi sobrang hand to mouth na yun. So that's really unforgivable kung tutuusin. Pero yeah, it's happened in the past, and that really always just boils down to poor management. Yun. Kaya nga, like classes like this, especially for media students, it's important for us to understand the structure and the importance of every role in the chain, because every role is equivalent to a responsibility. And that there is such a responsibility because it's important that someone's taking care that all those are met and all those are delivered. So pag nagka-breakdown ng isa dyan, it gets affected. And that always, it becomes equivalent to time, delay, or cost. So pag nangyayari yan, either hindi kayo aabot sa deadline nyo or mag-over kayo sa budget nyo. Diba?
Before the pandemic, yung mga projects mo, usually soap operas. And during the pandemic, ito na yung naging naging halos resident director of the longest running anthology drama series, Maalaala Mo Kaya. No? So, how would you differentiate yung nabanggit mo na yung hand to mouth na existence or the production of the soap operas? How would you differentiate now directing soap operas from directing anthology dramas? Napansin ko rin dahil nga pala umigse, naging 2 parts na yung MMK, minsan.
Oo, yeah.
Diba?
May
Dahil
mga panahon na
nagiging
the
two-part siya.
pag masyadong makapal yung storya, ginagawa naming 2 parts instead. So may mga certain like yung dalawang PBB alumni namin, si Karen Bordador at saka si Madam Minuts, yung episodes nila pareho were 2 parts. So yan, isa yan sa naging adjustment ng MMK. But I think the big difference really for teleseries and anthology episodes is with teleseries or series, actually sa atin sa Pilipinas, sanay tayo mas teleseries yung napapanood natin sa mainstream television. But in the States or yung mga or hindi ko alam, sa Korea parang twice a week yata, no? So parang medyo midway sila. For others naman, for westerns, usually iba talaga yung soap opera na pang araw-araw, pero yung primetime evening shows nila weekly series, no? Series yung episode. So ibig sabihin once a week. Sa atin sa Pilipinas, sanay tayo na everyday. So whether it's series or whether it's teleserye, ang pagkakaiba sa anthology ng mga yon is that with teleseries and series, you kind of have a big latag of the story and what happens every week, or if it's a 1 episode per week, every episode, no? Pero nakalatag siya across, alam mong matagal. With teleseries in particular, you have a sense of what the main problem is, but there's it's not locked. Usually when you begin production, it's not locked na alam mo na kung saan magiging ending nito. Probably you would have a general idea of yung tatakbuhin ng storya is yung protagonist mo is searching for his real parents, like in the case of A Soldier's Heart. Ang main protagonist namin doon was si Alex, yung character ni Gerald Anderson. And he turned out to be anak pala siya ng isang Muslim couple, pero inadopt siya ng isang isang military man at yung asawa niya, and they're Catholic, and lumaki siya and he became a soldier. And then eventually, idine-deploy siya sa Mindanao, and ang nakakalaban nila are Muslim people. Diba? So yun yung may general conflict ka na ganon. Alam mo na at some point, tatakbuhin yan is him finding out what his real identity is and probably having conflict with, being a soldier, his loyalty to the flag and his loyalty to his family na may mga pinaglalaban na prinsipyo, no? Based on their religion. So alam mo, pero hindi lahat locked yon, because you start to pumapasok ngayon yung elemento ng how is it developing. Pag fine-flesh out mo na yung napakaraming eksena dahil araw-araw yan, 5 araw in a week. Pag fine-flesh out mo na yung mga na yon, mas gumaganda pala yung love story nitong person na to with the character, or parang lumaki yung rivalry niya with another character na hindi mo akalain naman. Because pumapasok yung elemento ng how are the actors breathing life into those that were written on paper, di ba? So yung akala mo dati na ito yung magiging malaking character ay mas na-overtake or mas nagre-respond yung mga audiences to this other character, right? So that by the time you get to the end, although you had a sense of it, it may not end up exactly as how you envisioned it. Yes. No? Whereas in an anthology, especially in a show like MMK, these are life stories. Kumbaga, dumarating yan sa amin, walang abangan natin ang mangyayari. Alam na natin kung hanggang saan yung kwento ng life story ng letter sender na i-depict natin. So it's closed off. No? Sarado siya. So when we plan it, walang ganon. Walang yung parang tipo, tingnan natin kung paano kaya natin to i-ending. Hindi. When the script arrives, it's complete. So there are challenges from dun sa paggawa ng teleserye or series, may challenges dun sa MMK. May kanya-kanya silang difficulties. With the series, syempre ang haba, 'di ba? Kasi everyday ang daming so ang daming revisions niyan with the story kasi back and forth yan with the creative writers and the directors and the feedback ng management, 'di ba? And then you're responding to this week tumaas ang ratings, tapos the next week bumaba yung ratings. Nako, paano natin paakyatin ulit, 'di ba? So syempre, may nilatag na yung writers mo, may napag-usapan na kayo ng director mo, papalitan niyo bigla kasi hindi daw pala nagwo-work yung gusto natin, parang ganyan, may mga ganon. So that's challenging, but at the same time, ang may benefit din na yes, it may run for like 12 weeks, 16 weeks, 24 weeks, but it's the same set of characters. It's the same set of locations. And the characters, the more that they act it out, the more that they live it, the more that they become better at it. So that as a director, I can focus on crafting the story na lang and less about the performance. I mean, you'll always be responsible for that. Pero kasi kabisado na rin siya ng actor mo di ba? So parang mas collaboration na talaga between the two of you, and then they will sometimes come to me na with their own input, di ba? What if ganito direct, or para I'm thinking of crafting this or shaping my character this way. Kasi lubog na lubog sila dun sa characters nila, right? So may benefit din yon. And that's why pag sa teleserye, they actors, everyone, production people, crew, they become families kasi ang tagal mo talagang nakababad doon. Meanwhile, sa MMK, para kaming gumagawa ng pelikula every episode. We start with a new set of stories, new set of actors, new set of casting, new set of locations, new set of themes. So, laging from zero yon. So, we're basically making tiny movies every episode. Kasi imagine mo, 1.5 hour time slot, 60 minutes. May mga pelikula nga, di ba? 75 minutes lang di ba? I mean, you're just 15 minutes away from a full-length film. And kung tutuusin, sa MMK, pag minsan, yung first edit, yung first offline, yung latag ng editor ko, and sobrang hirap na hirap kami when this happens, pag minsan sobrang haba niya, parang pag minsan pelikula na siya, basically. Parang 90 minutes yung unang latag or parang 80 minutes yung unang latag. And then kailangan kong katayin yan into 60 minutes. Parang iisip mo, paano ko babawasan yung mga eksena na gano'n? Pero kasi syempre, kailangan huminga kasi ng mga eksena pag minsan di ba? So,
naalala ko yung mga MMK episodes dati, binibenta pa sa DVD na parang pelikula.
Yes.
Tapos may mga behind the scenes, no? So, before the pandemic, yun yung ginagamit ko sa sa mga klase, no, sa broadcasting.
May mga certain may mga DVD collections na parang may mga tema-tema pa yan like halimbawa LGBTQ stories, tapos yung mga different episodes ng MMK in the past na puro LGBTQ themed. Pag minsan pag minsan tungkol sa women empowerment, ganyan.
Hello po, sir.
Ayan.
Hi.
Hi, Laika.
Hi, Laika.
Question ko lang po, yung for MMK po, like, paano nyo po naggagawa yung story na unique? Especially po na nasabi nyo po na parang well-formed na po yung story ng letter sender.
This is where your expertise as a storyteller matters. So, as directors, we are part of the even in the planning parang in the early stages of the writing of the script, kasama na agad kami doon. And actually, even beyond that, even earlier than that, pag pinipitch pa lang ng we have a team of researchers kasi na sila yung either tumatanggap ng mga letters na nagre-review, alin ba sa mga letters na ito yung dapat natin gawin, or pag minsan sila yung nagre-research literally, like whether it's reading articles online, or halimbawa may nababalitaan ka. Usong-uso sa amin ngayon is like yung mga nagva-viral na stories, di ba? May magva-viral, so aalamin mo kung anong kwento, is it worth making an MMK episode about? So, yung mga researchers pala, doon pa lang sa part na yon, may decision-making process na nangyayari, di ba? Tinitignan na agad nila kung anong bago. So, yung tinatanong mo na parang, how do you decide? Like, if this is tama ka doon. Sa dinami-dami ng episodes, MMK is on its 30th year now. So imagine nyo, if every week, 52 weeks, o kahit tanggalin mo pa yung ilang weeks dyan kasi may replays or may Holy Week at saka, yun nga, may replays. Imagine mo, dami pa rin bagong episodes noon over the years, di ba? So parang isipin mo, ano pang hindi nakukwento sa MMK, di ba? But when you look at the stories, you will always be able to find something that sets it apart. And that's where, yun nga, your skill as storytellers, as in my case, as a director, dun yung hahanapin mo ngayon yung angulo dun sa storya, na makikita mo, what makes this unique is that it's this relationship between the father and the son. So pwedeng, yes, it's an OFW story, pero it's about this angle, parang ganyan. Or maybe may another angle to it. And it's something that you discuss along the way, back and forth yan. So malaking bagay, kaya hindi din madali yung parang just because you know how to direct, you know how to compose a shot, just because you know what the technical aspects are. Importante yung exposure mo into storytelling, di ba? At saka yung pangunawa mo sa mundo. Kasi you won't be able to appreciate or pick up on all these nuances of real life stories. And it doesn't go only for MMK. In general lang, kahit sa mga pelikula, di ba? Kahit sa mga napapanood nating pelikula. Nakikita mo yung layers or lalim ng characters when you have that kind of understanding about people, about experiences, when you expose yourself to different worlds and environments. So, yun, it's the same thing for us in MMK. Every time something arrives here, hahanapin namin kung ano yung parang pareho to doon sa story na nagawa natin 2 years ago. Pero bakit siya magiging iba? Kasi ito may anggulo ng ganito or may aspeto ng ganyan, di ba? Or because yung characters dito are like this. So doon namin ngayon i-decide na okay, this is a go. We'll produce this episode.
Direct Raz, baka hindi lang klaro sa kanila kanina nung ine-explain mo yung difference nung directing a longer running na dramatic soap opera as compared to an anthology drama. Pwedeng magkaroon ng bad publicity yung artista. O kaya pwedeng yung fans, yung audience, mas i-prefer nila yung isang love team over the original love team, no? So bigay tayo ng example, yung 14 ni Erich Gonzalez. I'm not sure kung familiar.
Yes.
Napakatanda nung example. Originally sa script, kung naalala ko pa, si Yan Lim yata yung dapat makatuluyan. Tapos nagkaroon ng chemistry yung Enchong D.
Enchong D, yes.
Kaya medyo iniba nila yung story. No, kasi 3 yan, 'di ba? EJ Falcon yung nakabuntis doon sa Erich Gonzalez. Tapos may Sian Lim, tapos may Enchong D. So throughout the airing of the soap opera, mas nagli-lean towards yung audience doon sa Erich tsaka Enchong D. Kaya yun yung mas dinevelop as compared to an anthology drama, no? Dahil based din to sa tunay na buhay. Yan na talaga, no? Hindi na nila pwedeng, dahil shorter ito, yan na talaga yung magiging ending. Yan.
At saka pag minsan with the anthology, pag minsan meron silang yung letter senders, when they send the story, akala nila ito lang. Pero while our researchers are communicating with them, kinakausap din nila yung ibang character sa buhay ng letter sender. So pag minsan akala nila, kasi most people when they write their stories, iniisip lang nila,
yung version
grabe
nila.
Yung pinagdaanan ko. Oo, parang grabe yung pinagdaanan ko. I think you can make an episode dito. Pero tayo kasi as storytellers, hindi siya stream of consciousness na tumatakbo lang siya na parang buhay. 'Di ba? Tayo yung nakakakita ng ano yung simula, saan natin sisimulan ng kwento, saan magka-climax yung kwento at paano yung resolution, 'di ba? Ano yung saan natin ifo-focus na ito ang problema ng character na throughout the kwento ay kailangan niyang ma-solve, and by the end of that episode or that story or film ay resolution, dun natin sasabihin nagtatapos na yung kwento, di ba? And tayo as storytellers, ako bilang director, yung writer ko, yung researchers ko, together we're the ones who kind of like find structure into those real life stories.
Ayun. I'm not sure kung meron na nagtanong sa'yo. Napansin ko kasi siya dun sa profile mo, no? Na nag-direct ka ng A Soldier's Heart, nag-direct ka ng Won't Last a Day Without You, nag-direct ka ng Hello Heart. No? At ang common dito ay yung artista, si Gerald Anderson. Ayun. Meron na ba nagtanong sa'yo, bakit karamihan ng projects mo, Gerald Anderson? How do you deal with situations kapag nagkakaroon siya ng bad publicity?
Well, thankfully, I don't have to deal with it myself. Meaning, our PR people at saka the management knows how to handle it. With me personally, I never had to deal with it with regard to bad publicity. And personally, the way I deal with it is I always focus it back to the project. And si Gerald kasi naman is skilled naman eh. He's very skilled. Like he's one of your dependable leading man eh. And yun nga parang you can't imagine some actors being able to do the characters that he's able to do, di ba? Parang like si John Lloyd ba, makikita mo siyang effectively makakapag Soldier's Heart? I mean, pwede, pero probably not in the same matinee idol leading man way that Gerald can eh, di ba? So, in particular kay Gerald, doon ko fino-focus na parang yung kakayahan din naman ng tao, parang ganyan, di ba? Kasi he can be serious and intense one time, but he can also do, light comedy, romance lead another time, and then like talagang pakilig type another character, di ba? So, yun. Ang ginagawa ko gano'n. Parang doon ko ibinabalik para hindi na nila ako tanungin kung kumusta na sila ni Julia or nagselos ba kung mga ganong klaseng tanong-tanong pa.
Doon sa Won't Last a Day Without You, no? I'm not sure kung napanood ng students. Mas ito yata yung close sa course mo. Tama, no? Kasi ikaw yung nagsulat, ikaw din yung nag-direct.
Yes.
Tapos it features a DJ, no? So broadcasting in art siya, no? So, yun na ba talaga yung naisip mo na ito yung aking debut feature, or do you have something in mind first bago yun, yung Won't Last a Day Without You?
Not at all. When Won't Last a Day Without You was given to me to direct, I just got back from my master's degree overseas. Tapos, ang bilis ng mga pangyayari when I got back home eh. Parang Star Cinema asked me, parang they got my graduation film, napanood nila yung reel ko, and then parang they thought na parang baka kaya, binigyan nila ako ng isang episode sa Maalaala Mo Kaya to try me. And usually, that's what ang Maalaala Mo Kaya is eh. Para siyang gold standard ng television na parang audition piece namin siya. So, alam mo yun, if you massively fail, sorry ka. They like what they saw from my episode, and they like the feedback also the way I directed. So, after that one episode, ang nangyari talaga dyan sa Won't Last a Day Without You, may ibang director na. And it was already ongoing. But it was also going to be the first Star Cinema film of that director. And then nag-back out yung director na yon kasi hindi siya confident. Pero may kwento na yon. Yun, whatever it was, yung in terms na may DJ ganyan, yun na yung kwento nun. And then nag-back out siya. So they needed to follow up already kasi sobrang nag-hit yung first film ni Gerald at saka ni Sarah earlier that year, which is yung Catch Me, I'm in Love, yung anak naman ng presidente si Gerald. Ganyan. Yes. Sobrang hit doon. They wanted to follow up agad kasi sobrang hot ng tandem nila.
Pero yung original, hindi mo pa screenplay?
Hindi ko pa screenplay yung original. The story was existing. Meron nang nagsulat. Tapos, tinanong nila kung okay lang sa akin. Ako naman, yeah, definitely, sure, why not? I mean, I just really love directing. I just really love telling stories. So I accepted it. And then, because I'm also a writer naman talaga, ang aking history naman talaga sa Star Cinema as a writer, so they also allowed me to fix the script na rin. So malaki yung nabago, pero the essence of it na DJ yung character, tapos yung guy was isang listener, ganyan-ganyan, intact yun. Pero ako na yung nagpasok ng conflicts and all of that, ganyan-ganyan. Kumbaga, shinape ko na siya so that it's going to be more filmic pag tumakbo. So hindi siya mine completely. Pero syempre, yung imprint ko, inayos ko na siya and all of that. So that's how it started. So yeah, after that, yun, nagtuloy-tuloy na yung yung paggawa nun.
Nagkataon lang pala. Akala ko dahil broadcast communication graduate ka, yung una mong naisip na kwento na i-direct mo is about broadcasting, no? A DJ.
Pero I think kaya rin naging madali for me yung kasi imagine mo, it was my first full-length commercial film. Ang laking responsibility agad nun, and I was like coming from studying, di ba? Like, and prior to that, wala naman akong production experience sa Pilipinas. Kumbaga, writing talaga ako. Hindi ako nag-AD, hindi ako nag-script con, hindi ako nag-PA. Wala akong experience at all in production in the Philippines. So kung tutuusin that, I could have failed massively with that project. But, and on top of that, I decided to write pa. So literally nag-ocular ako, nagpo-production meeting ako, nagsusulat pa ako ng drafts ng script, di ba? And for approval na pag may ayaw sila, i-revise ko pa. Alam mo yun, I had a co-writer pero basically I was calling the shots pa rin mas ganun pa rin. So anyways, yeah, it could have failed massively. But I think part of it is because nga I'm familiar with the milieu. Kilala ko alam ko ang galawan, familiar ako how a radio works. And I think dito papasok yung background ko in mass comm and in broadcast communication. Napakahalaga sa akin talaga ng research. Even when I was a screenwriter, when I choose to write characters like this, like halimbawa sa You Are the One, this is a Tony Gonzaga and Sam Milby movie. Ito yung si Sam Milby is consul siya sa US Embassy. Tapos si Tony Gonzaga naman is isang NSO, National Statistics Office, parang employee, ganyan-ganyan. I really go in-depth into researching. I go there sa mismong lugar. I talk to characters. Ang dami kong kinakausap, whether over the phone or in person. Ganon klase yung training ko because I guess of broadcast journalism. Tulad ng sinabi ko sa inyo, malaki sa akin yung naging training ko as a sa documentary, even as a student pa lang. At saka until now, kaya nga dun sa introduction mo rin, Mayor, kanina, di ba? Like, talagang I really put emphasis on that because mahal ko din talaga ang documentaries at malaking bagay sa akin yon. And I think yung discipline ko about putting research into the things that I write, even for the narrative aspect, talagang na-influence siya nung ganong sensibilidad or ganong values ko about research.
Nung nag-start po ba kayo sa media or parang sa film, diretsong director po ba agad yung naging first job niyo po? Or parang nag-start po kayo as PA muna o kaya scriptwriter, parang yun po?
Oo. Tapos
scriptwriter. Go.
Follow-up question ka rin, Kasi nga, di ba, ang tinapos mo, documentary sa London, Tapos bakit, soap, ganan?
Okay. Well, so when I graduate, di ba, I graduated Broadcom sa UP and then nag-law school ako for a bit. And then, yun nga yung sinasabi ko na parang nag-workshop ako. And then, after ko mag-workshop kay Sir Ricky, kinuha ako ng Star Cinema as a script writer. Well, not immediately as a script writer, but as a brainstormer. Pag sa kasi yun ang entry level ng creatives. When you're interested in getting to creatives, at ang ibig sabihin ng creatives sa industriya is mas ang tracking mo is writing. Usually ang entry level mo sa network ay brainstormer. Ibig sabihin, you become part of the creative team. Kasi yung pag-iisip niyan, ang hirap mag-isip ng ideas, kailangan ng kabatuhan ng magiging head writer mo, ng writer mo. And usually, merong team of brainstormers na kabatuhan. At kasama doon sa responsibilidad nila is, yun nga, nagre-research sila ng sarili nilang storya or kung may mga kailangang alamin na detalye, nire-research nila, ganyan. So support system din sila doon sa creatives. So for Star Cinema, I started as a brainstormer. And then, step by step, slowly, ay nagkaroon ako ng, as a brainstormer, nagsusulat ka ng storylines, pinipitch mo to management meaning yung mga bossing, sina Malu Santos, sila yung creative director noon, managing director ng Star Cinema noon. Magpipitch ka sa kanila, pag na-approve, you get story credit kasi ikaw yung gumawa ng story. Pwedeng, if you're ready, pwedeng ipasulat nila sa'yo or pwedeng they'll partner you up with a more senior writer at ikaw ay magko-co-write with them. So, ganun yung nangyari sa akin. I started as a brainstormer, well, not really brainstormer, but creative, CDG.
Concept Development Group.
Concept Development Group. Yun. Concept Development Group sa Star Cinema. We pitch stories. May na-approve na story ako. And then, eventually, they trusted me na to write my screenplay. So, nag-co-write muna until eventually, pagdating dun sa A Very Special Love, it's a film with John Lloyd and Sarah Geronimo. Ako na yung solo writer nun. So, I pitched that story. Ako na yung responsible for all the research about it. Ganyan. So, yun, that eventually became like three films. So, yun yung una kong pasok sa Star Cinema. And then eventually, I left to study overseas. Nung nag-study ako sa London, it's actually for an MA. It's not specific to documentary. It's MA in filmmaking. Pero when I was there kasi, in one of the terms, kasi parang 6 terms in total yung yung program namin. In one of the terms, we documentary yung kailangang ma-produce ng batch. So isa ako sa mga nag-direct ng documentaries and then that went on to win in CCP also. So parang again, bumabalik yung roots ko talaga sa documentary. Hindi ko talaga mahiwalay. I mean, nung term na yun, ayoko nga sana mag-direct kasi gusto ko mag-DOP, basta something else kasi when I was in London, I wanted to try different things kasi I feel like that's how you become a good director. That's how you become good in general in the field of filmmaking. It's understanding all the different departments. Ang mga batchmates ko, kasi most people, when they think of filmmaking, director di ba? So they're all very competitive na gusto nilang maging director. Everyone nag-aagawan na sila yung maging director. Ako, baliktad. I mean, of course, I'd like to do that. Pero mas kinukuha ko nung, hindi pa ako nagpo-production designer. So magpo-production designer ako this term. Tapos the next term, hindi pa ako nagka-camera operator. So magka-camera operator ako this term. And then hindi pa ako sa sound designer. So gusto ko mag-sound designer ako. That's my goal. Dun sa 6 na, kasi pag 6th term, graduation film, syempre, kailangan ikaw na yung either producer or director nun. Pero the 5 terms before that, I really wanted na kailangan, I will choose to specialize in the different fields. But in one term, the documentary term, yung concept ko yung na-approve. So wala ko choice, kailangan mag-direct. So good din naman kasi yun nga, eventually nanalo rin naman siya. So yun nga, hindi hinahabol din ako ng documentary, ng documentary roots ko.
There are certain directors na merong what do you call this? Parang certain style or treatment sa ginagawa nilang piyesa. Kayo po ba, do you have a certain style when it comes to directing? Or nag-a-adjust kayo dun sa kung ano yung kailangan mismo ng story na ibinibigay sa inyo? Ayun po.
More of the latter. I think certain stories have their own distinct identities, no? And so they require to be told according to what the stories are. So mas ganun ako. I think in terms of style, I think what I can consider to be a style is I tend to go with very character-driven stories. Kumbaga, hindi ako masyado into yung plotty type. Alam mo yung parang tipong very, kumbaga, say for example, an action film, diba? Like a James Bond film, diba? It's about like caricature villains. Siya, lalagyan mo ng konting depth, ganyan. But in essence, it's really caricature villains. And then it's the adventures, diba? That will kind of like carry you through, di ba? They give your characters like a strong goal na kailangan ma-save niya yung world or ma-disarm niya yung ma-disarm niya yung bomb na ganyan na sasabog sa UN conference or whatever like that. But with me, I tend to choose stories or direct stories that are strongly character driven, meaning it's very well developed characters, and even the way I write, it's like that. So I would think na parang that probably would be more of the style, or if you look at the many output or the many stories that I've directed, yun yung makikita mo, which is why talking about itong last short film ko, yun nga, na-mention din ni Mayor, yung Quits sa Cinemalaya. It's a short film and it's now a finalist in this year's Cinemalaya. But with this particular film, I really deliberately tried to do something different. Of course, yung story itself may worth siya, kumbaga may value siya. Pero with this particular short film, I tried to do something different by telling a story. Dito sa kwento na to, it's a short film, it's less than 20 minutes. Pero walang backstory. Wala tayong malalaman na backstory about this character. Hindi nga natin when I write the synopsis, I write his name to be Tupe, but we never heard him be called Tupe. Kasi that's his nickname. And nobody else in the film ever called him by his nickname. Alam mo yon, yung ganong klase. And then the only other big character in the story, we never even know her name. Alam mo yon, yung ganong klase. Kasi there's a deliberate attempt on my part to maximize the format and the genre, the short film. That's why short films they have their own value. Pwede ka pa rin ma-move ng isang short film na hindi natin alam kung si Tupe ba ay may magulang, si Tupe ba ay may asawa at anak, si Tupe ba ay ano bang problema niya sa buhay, ganito. Wala kang ganon, but hopefully what I managed to do is to still get you hooked into the story, care about the character, and be moved by the ultimate message that I was hoping to send out with the short film. So, yun nga parang I'm trying to veer away from that kasi nga pag tinignan niyo yung mga, actually MMK pa lang, just the fact that it's MMK, di ba, very character driven kasi lahat ng MMK stories, laging, alam niyo pag dumarating yung research namin sa MMK, pag sumulat kayo sa MMK, if umabot man sa punto ng buhay ninyo, dahil feeling ko hindi mawawala ang MMK for the rest of our lives, kung umabot man sa puntong magpapadala kayo ng storya sa MMK, alam nyo, pag kinausap kayo ng researchers, simula pagkapanganak ninyo hanggang sa present life ninyo, kakalkalin yon. Because we believe that all those things contribute to your life story, di ba? Kung bakit ganun ka ngayon. At nag-i-inform yun dun sa tema ng buhay mo. So very character-driven talaga. And I think that's why I ended up in a show like MMK. Because yun nga di ba yung sinasabi ko about yung values ko about research, kung bakit mahalaga sa akin yun, in documentary na napulot ko sa documentary, nag-i-inform lahat ng yun Hindi surprising na kung tutuusin, MMK, it's dramatized, it's fictionalized, but they're based on real people. So can you really say that it's fiction? It's not fiction, definitely. But it's also not documentary, di ba? And I think there's really a reason why I'm where I am. And it's because of all these things that influence the way I tell stories.
Director, since you already mentioned yung Quits, and it's more on the story of a man during the pandemic. Now, this is not the first time that you have an entry sa Cinemalaya. Before, you had Labada, na short film, and Tukso nga ba?
Tukso, yeah. Although Tukso was really just a featured, Tukso wasn't officially in a finalist.
Okay.
Parang featured presentation lang siya in the program ng Cinemalaya that year.
And then
but the first one, Labada, yes.
And then you also directed a cultural series, for NCCE, which is Dayaw, hosted by Senator Lauren Legarda. Why still do this these independent projects, no? Na napaka-busy mo na sa sa mainstream projects mo sa ABS-CBN?
I think it's really because hinahanap ng sistema ko eh. Kumbaga, parang like, for example, with the documentaries, there's something about being able to show life without trying to kind of like paint it or parang structure it na it's always going to be dramatic and may highs and lows. Just showing life the way it is, no? And I don't always get that opportunity with the things that I do for the mainstream for ABS, like in MMK or in the teleseries that I do. So ang sa akin, I know that I have the capacity to tell stories in a different way. Kumbaga, I know that there are some messages or some themes na hindi na alam kong gusto kong sabihin pero walang opportunity in MMK. Like in the case of Quits, the short film that got into Cinemalaya, guys, literal na ang kwento lang niya ay yung mama kumukuha ng ayuda. Yun lang yun talaga. Literal na yun lang yun. 20 minutes, almost 20 minutes of a man trying to get his ayuda. Sa tingin nyo ba, pag sinabi ko sa MFK, gawa tayo ng episode tungkol sa mamang kumukuha ng ayuda, gagawin natin para like, makatapos na yan in 2 minutes, di ba? or ganon. But I knew that it was important for me to tell this story because there is a way there. I could envision it that there is a way that it needs to be told, which would matter and has a message in the way that I will be telling the story that you won't get into like your normal TV Patrol segment na, ito po ang ina-experience ng mga kumukuha ng ayuda. Diba? Kasi kung tutuusin, it could be on the news, diba? Pero bakit hindi ko na lang iwanan ng ganon? Because I really feel like there's still something in the way that I will be able to tell the story that could move audiences in a different way or could make them think about different things or messages. So pag halimbawang hindi ko nahahanap yun doon sa mga ginagawa ko, thankfully, nagkaroon ng opportunity, hinahanap ko siyang gawin in other ways. And this is where yung independent production start coming in. So thankfully with NCCA, I have a relationship with them, so they're able to give me that opportunity to do Dayaw, and then when they gave me this opportunity also to do Quits. So yun.
Nakapag-direct ka na ba ng live production, live program?
I've done live pero hindi siya madaming mostly it was mostly during mostly for org sa broadcast. Hindi sa hindi in my professional career. Ibang beast rin yung sa But what I've done I've done content that they used for live.
Yung ganon.
So, mas ganon rather than the actual live event mismo. Actually, nakakamiss din yun eh. Kasi na-experience ko yan as a student. Kasi we do like live productions sa so you do like either a talk show or a variety show. So, iba rin yung rush nun eh.
Kasi Broadcast is an organization, a student organization of broadcasting students. Baka isipin nila
bastos yun. Oo, yan? Broadcasting Association kasi yun.
Broadcast.
Sorry.
And then, since you went through being a writer, at kanina din-discuss ko before the start of your talk, na madalas may 4 to 5 writers sa soap opera. Tapos sa soap opera, when you're directing, kapag tinignan mo yung credits, madalas 2 yung directors, no? Tapos sa maalaala mo kaya, isa na lang.
Isa lang, yeah.
Oo, no? So, paano yung transition mo from working with 3 other writers, working with another director, and this time around, mag-isa ka lang?
Kaya nga sinasabi ko, mas malak kung tutuusin when you look at MMK, it's closer, siguro in terms of production, in terms of structure, yes, TV siya, di ba? Kasi your EPs, ganyan-ganyan. Ang dami-daming tao at saka yung structure lang generally, no? But in terms of creatives, parang it's closer to film eh. Kasi nga ikaw yung solo responsible for it as a director, di ba? Parang ganyan. Kaya mas may malapit siya sa film. Kaya rin hindi ako siguro nahirapan when I transitioned to doing television because ang training ko was really filmmaking naman when I did my masters and when I was in Star Cinema. Hindi madali actually hindi madali yung if you're in television teleserye in particular and then you have 2 directors and then you have a team of writers, no? Ang structure usually ng although ang MMK ang structure niya is my head writer and then my writer and then researchers na, no? Although isang researcher lang din yon. So parang mas streamlined siya. Pag sa teleserye, usually ngayon, either 3 or 2 writers and then 1 head writer and then may creative manager ka pa. And then, kaya ka may 2 directors is may tinatawag kang either pareho kayo ng level or second unit director mo siya. Kasi sa dami ng kailangan yung eksenang gawin, lalo na nga kung teleserye at umi-air siya ng araw-araw, di ba? Ibig sabihin, yung material na kailangan yung matapos na i-shoot, napakarami. So, hindi pwedeng yung isang director lang ang gagawa ng lahat ng yon. Literally, hindi kakayanin. So, you usually have a second unit director na nag-shoot ng ibang eksena. Kung ako yung main director at ang eksena ko ay si Gerald at saka si Irma Adlawan, sinushoot ko sila ngayon, wala naman sa eksena na to si Sue, si Sue Ramirez, and then wala rin dito si Elmo Magalona at saka si Nash Aguas. So pwedeng ginagawa na nung second unit director ko yung ibang eksena na yon, which requires that your other director still also know everything that's happening. Kasi kung ano man ang iba to sa'yo, dapat naintindihan mo yung continuity nun. So it becomes more complicated. Pag minsan, pagdating sa akin ng eksena, pag tinignan mo yung script, ito yung pinanggalingan nun. Pag minsan nalilito rin ako, honestly, na like parang, wait, ano nga bang nangyari dito before that? So kailangan you're able to keep track of that. Kasi hindi pala ako yung gumawa ng previous eksena. Or pag minsan, pag sa film, hindi pa kasi nagagawa. Pero mas mahirap yung nung time na yon, kinailangan gawin yung ibang director. So parang may plano ko doon, kaso for whatever logistical reasons, ibang director, yung second unit director ko yung gumawa. So parang nung tinatrack ko na, ano nga ba nangyari dito? Ba't nga ba ganito yung isi-shoot ko na eksena ngayon? Kasi ang pinanggalingan ganito. Kasi direct, di ba yan yung, kasi nag-extend tayo doon, so kinailangan yung ibang direct, yung si direct ganyan yung gumawa ng eksena na yun. Ayun, kasi originally ako dapat gagawa nun, pero yung second unit director na yung nag-shoot. Parang ganyan. So imagine yung gano'n, nagkakaroon ng ganong klaseng complexities yung galawan, which requires you to be super aware of all of that. And it also requires you na pinapanood mo rin dapat yung material mo, which is hard to do when you're doing teleseries, kasi nag-shoot na kayo every other day and then nagmi-meetings pa kayo dun sa days na hindi kayo nag-shoot. Tapos bukod sa meetings, may editing ka pa. Pero kailangan mong mapanood yung umi-air kasi yun yung magpapaalala sa ng flow ng storya, di ba? So yun, may mga ganong level of complexity sa TV. So ibang beast din siya. Kaya nga, just because you're a director doesn't mean that you will easily transition to advertising or film or yun nga, live, tulad ng tanong ni Mayor. Iba-ibang siya, may mga iba-ibang nuances siya na nare-require of you. At doon din nahahanap ng mga tao kung saan sila magaling or saan sila nababagay. Like some people, when they're doing live events, they don't like narratives because they like events because of the rush of it. It's energy. It's the energy and what they're able to make their audiences feel at that moment. Diba? Yung spectacle, yung wow, yung ganyan. So iba yun diba? Iba yung parang tipong mawawaw mo sila with the dance numbers and with the diba, with the lights show or whatever, ganon. So iba naman din yung sa narrative, diba? Iba yung sa TV. Sa TV, yun nga, pag sa live TV ka, siguro na pag-uusapan na rin ninyo sa klase, dahil meron kang commercial breaks, kailangan mataas ang ending ng bawat gap mo. Kasi inaasahan mo sila na kailangan hindi sila bumitaw. Baka lumipat sila sa GMA pag pangit yung ending nung gap nung body mo. So bago mag commercial break, kailangan mataas yung magiging ending nung body na yon. 'Di ba? Kaya parang pag sa television, yung lalo na yung mga lumang teleseries, sigawan ng sigawan, sampalan ng sampalan, sabugan ng sabugan. It's because it's trying to keep you glued to that story. Otherwise, you might end up losing your interest. 'Di ba? Pero ang pelikula, kaya nga tulad nitong ginawa kong short film, ano ba? Where do you intend to show it? I intend to show it in a locked cinema, or at least like with audiences paying full attention. Sa sinihan kasi, magbabayad ka. Pag nagbayad ka, hindi ka lalabas sa gitna niyan, di ba? Pag minsan nga pinipigil natin magpunta sa CR kasi you don't want to miss anything. O nagbayad ka, di ba? So iba ang pagkukwento ng pelikula, di ba? Alam mong kulong yan, so meron siyang rhythm. Pwede akong mag-quiet dito na pag sa pelikula, pag sa TV mo yan pinalabas, parang montage na lang. O, iniwanan ka na niyan, di ba? Parang nag-quiet, mellow music na ganyan-ganyan. Nakatingin lang sa kawalan yung character mo. Pag sa pelikula, nakikiramdam, di ba? Kasama mong niraramdam with the character yon, di ba? Kasi may rhythm na sinusundan yon. So, ibang-iba rin yon, di ba? So, the different formats require you to direct it in a different way. And I don't look at it na parang one is better than the other. It's just really different content, di ba? Marami sa atin, mas gusto natin yung mga series. Yung iba, sobrang into Korean dramas. Yung iba, they really just like films, di ba? O yung iba, hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin na mababa lang yung taste ng mga normal viewers na nanonood ng teleseries natin. Yung paborito pa rin ng probinsyano on its 7th year, di ba? Hindi eh. It satisfies a certain kind of need for them, di ba? Kasi ano yan, aspirational para sa kanila yan di ba? At saka lalo na it's free. Well, that's the entertainment accessible to me, di ba? At gusto ko yung parang tipong satisfied ako dahil pagdating ko sa trabaho, hindi ko nagustuhin yung pag nagkakarpintero ako, iniisip ko pa kung ano nga bang ibig sabihin ng tema nung napanood ko kagabi kasi parang ang lalim-lalim niya and ganyan-ganyan. Hindi. I need it to be easily understood. There's a clear villain, there's a clear hero. Tuwang-tuwa ako na hindi pa namatay. Kahit tantad ng bala si Cardo, hindi siya namatay. Buti na lang. Di ba? So, iba yung sinasatisfy niya na need.
And in Marshall McLuhan's words, no, the medium is the message. So iba-iba yung bawat medium, iba-iba yung way natin of interacting with the medium or appreciating the medium. No? Kaya yung mga creators then behind those media, iba-iba rin yung way nila ng pagsulat or pagputol, no, nung yun mga bodies nga. Or pwedeng dire-diretso lang as in a film. Ayan. Meron pa bang tanong? Kasi nagtuturo rin si nabanggit ko, no? Ito yung hindi masyadong nadidiscuss na part ng buhay ni Direk Raz. Nagtuturo rin siya, no, sa kanyang alma mater ng scriptwriting, broadcasting, no? And ano ba ang mga subjects na tinuturo mo? Scriptwriting, producing, and directing. And in the past many years, parang ako na yung halos nagtuturo lagi ng elective, ng videography din sa amin. So yun din, parang like the technical aspect naman. Kumbaga, hindi ko kailangan pag-isipan yan masyado. I mean, hindi ako yung gumagawa literally when I'm directing, di ba? Like with the lights and all of that. So yun naman yung parang kinokonekta ko lang dun sa tanong mo nga, why do I still do like this independent short film or like this documentary with So the same thing with the teaching. I teach videography because I'm also interested in that. So I get to kind of like be very highly technical naman and discuss it with the students. So yun, parang I don't always get an opportunity na it's not like iuupo ko yung EP ko tapos sasabihin ko, grabe ang ganda ng contrast, di ba? And look at the way how like that backlight separates it from the and grabe, this is why we need to use like this kind of lens so that the depth of field. Well, alam mo yun, I don't get to discuss that like that, but with my students, di ba? I get to kind of like really train them to appreciate that
And I get to discuss my passion for those things also,
And
for the
we're
visuals.
experiencing
ganyan.
it like now. Ano? We're experiencing it right now.
Yun.
Yun, no? So yung mga ito, no, yung kanyang analysis or processing, no, nung kanyang na-experience doon sa production, sinashare niya rin doon sa kanyang students. Saan ka nag-internship, Derek Raz? If you would like.
Ako, at that time, sa ABS, pero hindi ko natapos yung sa ABS ko. It was for a current affairs show. Hindi ko natapos. So I ended up finishing it sa GMA. Yung sa GMA, nag-create sila ng small team para sa election coverage. And then, student pa lang ako, nakapasok na ako doon. And then hinihintay nila ako na parang magtutuloy-tuloy. Kaso nga di ba nakapasok ako ng law school. So hindi ko na So at some point I had to say na parang kasi mag-orientation na kami sa law school, ganyan-ganyan. So sayang kasi that would have been tuloy. Baka iba ang buhay ko ngayon. Baka, I don't know, either
muntik ka palang maging kapuso.
na ako or muntik ka pa maging kapuso. So ibang-iba siya kung sakali. But yeah, pero yun nga, tama yun. Like with your internships, like usually it becomes, kasi pag nagiging familiar sa inyo, especially kung nagustuhan yung it becomes kung maaalala nila kayo, parang I'd rather work with someone na test ko na nasubukan ko na yung work ethic ng batang yan, ganyan. So take advantage.
In your production teams, no, ano yung mga madalas na-experience mo na problems and how do you deal with those problems?
In my production?
Sa production experience mo, ano yung mga usual whether it's anthology or soap opera or series?
Ang primary talaga, wala akong problema in terms of creatives. Yun talaga I believe is probably my personal strength na talagang because of my training in writing and because of my passion for the creative side of things, the writing side of things, mabilis ako in terms of like if there is a narrative problem, something's not working, mabilis akong makapag-suggest or makahanap ng solution for it. But in terms of like usual problems, I think a lot of directors or people in production will share this with me. It's always time. It's always like being able to do what you can, especially pag nagtatrabaho ko sa television. But even in film, kung tutuusin, it's really being able to do what you need to do given the time that you have. That's always going to be the problem. Lalo na ngayon, sa situation natin ngayon, kasi nga, because of the pandemic, may mga certain protocols. Sa amin sa ABS, very strict kami. Talagang 12 hours kailangan. Tapos, the very, very few times na kailangang lumampas ng 12 hours, katakot-takot na pagpapaalam yan sa management. Sa people in ABS na papaalam, yung technical director namin magpapaalam yan sa head nila, yung EP namin magpapaalam yan sa production manager or sa business unit head, kasi talagang pag nalaman na nag-overtime, grabe yung pagko-question na bakit, anong nangyari, ganyan. So we're really very strict with ABS in keeping it sa ganon. Nagsimula yan dahil nung I don't know if kung naaalala nyo kids, nung may mga directors na namatay before, na director ng ABS na namatay, ganyan. Tapos may sumunod na naman. So parang it drew attention to bakit nga ba ang toxic ng production life. So dyan na nagsimula na parang kailangan i-limit na natin yung hours. And then because of the pandemic, yung number of hours that you interact with each other, kailangan na din i-start i-limit. So given that that's the case, lalo na with MMK, hindi ito yung para makita nyo kung bakit iba yung paraan ng pag-shoot. Imagine nyo in a teleserye, siguro sa buong 16 weeks, ang bahay ni character mo, ni Alex, is always gonna be the same house. So, walang problemang paghahanap ulit, di ba? kung yung pinagtatrabahuhan ni ganitong character, it's still the same pinagtatrabahuhan. Siguro on occasion magkakaroon ka ng bagong requirement pero pailan-ilan lang. In MMK, like I said, it's always a new set of locations, characters, and di ba? And on top of that, kung day one namin, ito yung mga nakaschedule na mga locations natin. Pag hindi ko natapos yan today, bukas ibang set of locations na yan. Hindi ko nababalikan. Paano ko masushoot yun? Buti kung kaya mong i-rewrite na i-relocate mo na lang. Sometimes we do that. Pero paano kung hindi pwede? Di ba? So you really need to finish everything within 12 hours. So that's always the challenge because pag nilatag namin yan, makikita nyo na punong-punong-puno siya. So much so that there isn't any room for mistakes. But the truth is, there will always be something that will delay you. That's not necessarily because tamad yung crew mo or dahil hindi mo ginagawa yung trabaho mo. Examples of delays would be like biglang umulan. You cannot shoot. Very, very rare na makakapag-shoot kapag umuulan. Why? Because hindi mo naman pwedeng pagtrabahuhin ang crew mo, nagbubuhat sila ng malalaking ilaw, umuulan. That's safety, that's hazard, di ba? On top of that, even if kunwari nakaset na yung lights nyo, everything is biglang umulan, paano ang audio? Nagda-dialogue yung characters mo, naririnig nyo yung patak ng ulan sa bubong. Di ba? Pag minsan kinakaya, lalo na kung we're in a building, tapos hindi mo rinig yung ulan sa labas. So tuloy ka lang doon. Pero paano kung ang location mo ay bahay kubo sa gitna ng palayan? Di ba? So literal na wala kang magagawa. Just like in my last cycle lang, talagang tipong 30 minutes, 45 minutes, wala. Talagang nakaupo lang kaming lahat doon, hinihintay tumigil yung ulan. That's already 45 minutes. Yung latag ng schedule mo, punong-puno na yun. So there will always be delays like that, di ba? So pag ganun, kahit anong sipag mo, kahit anong galing mo, kahit anong preparation mo, there's no way around those delays. Pag MMK pa, kailangan matapos ko today kasi bukas ibang set of location na ako. Nasa Tarlac tayo ngayon. Yung bukas nasa Fontana tayo sa Pampanga. Hindi na tayo babalik dito. So how do you do that? Those are the most stressful times for me. Kasi talagang kahit parang tumitingin nila ako sa EP ko na, di ba? Lahat naman ng tama ginawa ko, di ba? Pero hindi ko na control yan. Parang ganon. So, yun yung mga most stressful problems for me.
And in production management, ito yung Murphy's Law, no? If anything will go wrong, it will.
Yes, it will talaga. It will talaga. At saka, pero meron din mga parts na controllable problems. Like, well, maybe this is a bad example. Pero kasama sa mga delays na pwede mo ma-experience is paano kung hindi makaiyak yung artista?
Yes.
Diba? Na parang hindi ibig sabihin, hindi lagi ibig sabihin hindi magaling yung artista, ha? Hindi ibig sabihin hindi nag-prepare yung artista. Kasi ano lang yan parang makina lang din yan di ba? After mong umiyak and then parang kumari biglang habang umiiyak siya, biglang may kumahol na aso or biglang may bumagsak na something, ganun, na-distract siya. Hindi ganun kadali na suddenly babalik ka at kaya mo na ulit agad umiyak. And then, na-discarrel na siya, nawala na siya sa momentum niya. Then, kakarga ulit yon. Konting delays na rin yon, di ba? Na natural yon, hindi yun unusual. So in reality, what's really fair is that we make room even for those instances. But the way things are done now, sobrang plakado talaga lahat. Every minute is accounted for and there's no accounting for unexpected delays. When in fact, unexpected delays are the most natural thing in a production.
Yun, dami na nating natutunan kay Direk Raz. Bernadette, may tanong ulit.
Ayun po, hi.
Hi.
Ano po, since ang dami na pong experience with in connection with production, ano pa po bang gusto niyong gawin sa future or goals pa po?
Ang dami. Ang dami. Actually, this time, this is really an exciting time for me. Like yun nga, just being able to do this short film because I haven't really ventured in a while to do a personal production. So even this, not just the fact that I was able to do this short film, it was unexpected to have it enter Cinemalaya and actually become a finalist. Because I wasn't even sure if it would qualify because it was a commissioned work for NCCA. But I'm glad, of course, I'm thankful that it happened. But I think I'd like to be able to do more of these types of productions na parang they're not mainstream. Meaning hindi sila yung parang tipong karaniwang napapanood natin sa sinihan, whether in terms of subject matter or in terms of form. I'd love to be able to do more short films. Isa nga sa lagi kong sinasabi sa mga press cons and mga press interviews. Kaya ang ganda ng Cinemalaya, kaya sobra akong appreciative sa mga festivals like Cinemalaya and like Q Cinema, Cinema One Originals, is because nagkakaroon ng venue na mapanood natin yung mga ganitong klaseng storya. Kasi, number one, hindi lahat ng kwento ay kailangang ikwento into 1.5 hour films. May mga kwento na sapat lang na 20 minutes lang siya. Diba? Kung pipilitin mong pahabain, na-undermine na yung storya. Or kung pipilitin mong mas paikliin pa, hindi rin naman sapat. Diba? So tulad yan sinasabi ko, it's really about what is the story. And I feel like there are a lot of stories that need to be told in a short form. So I want to be able to do those stories. I also want to be able to do full-length films that are unconventional in terms of theme. Yung mga tipong kwento na probably hindi yan ipoproduce ng mainstream network or ng mainstream companies like kasi hindi sila lucrative, di ba? Kasi pag yan ang ginawa mo ay masyadong depressing, hindi yan kikita sa takilya, di ba? Hindi yan mag-earn ng money, hindi yan madaling i-distribute, parang ganon. But there are some stories that I feel nevertheless need to be told. So that's going to be difficult and challenging. Hindi ko alam how I'll be able to do that. But I want someday to be able to pursue those stories just because of the strength of those stories. Never minding yung commercial viability niya. Pero kailangan kasing maikwento yung mga kwento na yon. So, yun, may mga ganyan akong mga ibang kwento na naiisip. I want to someday develop them. But of course, limitado rin yung oras ng araw ko. So, syempre, you have to budget it na you're focusing on like ito, yung mga shows ko sa ABS or pag merong mga ganitong commission projects. So, sana mahanap ko yung panahon to be able to do that someday.
Hi, Direk. Ano pong masasabi niyo or mapapayo niyo sa mga students like me, nag-graduate na sana, let's claim it,
yes,
sa pagpasok po namin sa industriya?
I think the number one thing is you have to know what it is about the industry that you're passionate about. Diba? Kasi what will make you stick and what will make you stay and be patient in getting the rewards of staying in that industry is kung alam mo kung ano yung what's making you stay. Diba? For example, some people, they're there because they like being around showbiz. And that's not bad. Sa totoo, kasi talagang growing up, mahilig sila sa artista. There's nothing wrong with that, di ba? So sa kanila, it's not about creative fulfillment, di ba? Ang sa kanila, being able to work with as many actors is enough motivation for them, di ba? So kung ganon, you're able to reflect upon yourself na kung yun yung nagpapa-excite sa akin, saang aspeto ng industriya ako magbabagay? Because there are many things in the industry that you can do. Diba? Some people, immediately iniisip nila, I want to be a director. Pero kung tutuusin, pag nag-dig deep ka pa, why do you want to be a director? Some people actually, they like that it's an ego thing. Kasi, as a director, you're at the head of it, you take credit for it, ganyan. But if it's an ego thing, that could be achieved in many other ways. Baka hindi mo alam na ang pagiging director requires you to lead people, requires you to provide the vision. And to be able to do that, you need to put in the work. You need to know every aspect of the entire production. Because as a director, you provide the vision and you provide the leadership. Pag lumapit sa iyo si lighting director mo or si cinematographer mo asking a question ng ganito, so how do you imagine this, or what's your vision for this, ganyan, but you don't even understand what kind of work he does or what goes into his discipline as a cinematographer, how do you communicate with that, di ba? If you're lucky, kahit wala ka na po provide, tutulungan ka pa rin yan. They'll still do the best job they can. And maganda pa rin yung output mo. But nadidiminish mo yung potential ng output mo. Kasi hindi mo naintindihan na ang pagiging director is not just about being the person na tatanungin ng lahat ng tao or i-congratulate ng tao dahil kumita yung pelikula. It requires a lot of work. And mahalagang maintindihan yan. Lalo na ngayon, na-democratize kasi yung yung industriya. I mean, I have an iPhone here. It shoots 4K. I can actually shoot a film with great quality with an iPhone. Anyone can be a director. Anyone can produce a film. But truly, the discipline, the craft of being a storyteller, in particular, a storyteller as a director, mayroong trabahong required yon. May disiplina, may pag-aaral, not necessarily technically or formally pag-aaral, pero kailangan intindihin mo all the things that go into that position, into that responsibility. So, intindihin mo yon. Why do you want to be in the industry? As what? What do you aspire to be? If it's creating stories, iba yung pag-create ng stories sa pagdidirect ng stories, di ba? Some people actually find the fulfillment in literally writing the stories, di ba? Pwedeng ang galing-galing nilang writer pero gusto nilang maging director pero hindi na nare-realize na iba yung disiplina na nagsusulat ka on paper at igagawin mo, i-visualize mo siya. And what does it mean when you visualize it? Meanwhile, si production designer, I love visualizing it, but I don't have the skill in coming up with a story from a blank page. But to be able to make it come to life, di ba? Yung mundo na supposedly ito ay gera sa Mindanao, pero gagawin ko yan sa isang park dyan sa Tanay Rizal. How do I do that? And I will find fulfillment in making that come to life, in making that, visualizing that. Meanwhile, si cinematographer, how can I evoke the emotions by lighting that set or that location in a particular way? How can I evoke the drama, the emotion by the way that I will frame the shot or create camera movements? Yun yung iniisip ni cinematographer mo. And not all those people if they're really serious about their craft, they're not thinking about becoming directors or becoming di ba? Because iba yung discipline that they know they want to be able to do as part of that big story, diba? And as a producer, it could be all about like, I want all of that to come to life and get the recognition or get the ratings or get the money or alam mo yon, because that's part of it, making it all come together, diba? That's why it's important yung pinag-aralan nyo kanina, diba, the production team, intindihin lahat ng yon. Ano yon? What does it mean? What does it entail pag ganun yung responsibilidad mo, ganyan? Kasi may kanya-kanyang kalalagyan yan. And hindi siya yung tipong dahil ngayon, diba? Cinemalaya, finalist, ganyan. I'm a director. I can be a director now. Kasi pag minsan, when you skip certain steps, you may not have the opportunity to go back on it. So nahinog ka sa pilit because during those years, those times that you have the humility to actually absorb all the learnings, learn everything first, you were rushing to get the recognition, the accolades, not realizing that once you get past a certain point, you will lack the humility to open yourself up to more learning. And pag nangyari yon, pagdating mo doon at kailangan mong ito ang mga alam mong bagay na hindi mo natutunan, you could be squandering, lalong nawawala yung opportunity na naipoprovide sa'yo, nasasayang. Kasi you might fail at it or you might not do the best job you could if you had taken your time to learn first what you need to learn.
If you listen intently doon sa talk ni Direk Raz, hindi lang porque marunong kayong magkwento at marunong kayong mag-visualize, no, nung written text, kailangan ding relationship to no? Maging mabuti tayong tao, yung paano ka mag-lead, no, ng isang team para mag-collaborate kayo. And hindi lang siya completely democratic process, kundi mag-compromise din, no, doon sa kung ano yung hinihingi ng mga producers at ano yung hinihingi ng pagkakataon, lalong-lalo na sa mga panahon na hindi tumutugma sa atin ang Murphy's Law. Ayan.
Yes. Siguro one thing also to add lang. Ang ganda lang na nabanggit ni Mayor yung sa collaboration because that's a really important aspect of being in the film industry. Yes, it's possible for you to create content on your own, but probably that's a very, very rare occasion that someone does anything on their own in the field that we're in. A writer probably can write something, diba, by himself, by herself. Pero once you want to make it a visual content or like something for film or television, it's no longer just a written piece and you'll need to collaborate with other people. So it's very rarely a solitary job. Kaya as early as now, it's important that you learn what it's like to collaborate and the respect that is necessary in the process of collaboration. And my other thing is, you know, guys, like what you're experiencing now, you guys are students, i-relish nyo rin yung opportunity that's provided by your classes. Alam mo, when I look back, there are many classes na parang nanghinayang ako kasi iba nung panahon namin di ba, Mayor? Like nung mga panahon namin, kayo, like yun nga, sabi ko, ngayon, you can shoot. You have, all your smartphones have a capacity to record videos. Dati sa amin, iilan lang ang mga estudyante na may access to video cameras. And pag mag-edit ka, magbabayad ka ng mahal para lang may editor na marunong sa program na mag-edit for you. And then, nung mga panahon na yon, because din as a student, hindi kami tinuruan ng mga mahahalagang bagay that goes in, na kailangan mong isipin pag gumagawa ka ng content. Nasasayang yung opportunity. Parang iniisip ko nung gumawa ako ng short film before, sana pala hindi copyrighted music yung ginamit kong music. Kasi hindi ko siya masali ngayon sa mga festivals. Kasi hindi ano. And minsan lang yung may opportunity na during your class, required to come up with something that you can actually produce, that you can actually develop. Kasi pag halimbawang graduate na kayo, nagtatrabaho na kayo, di ba? Hindi nyo na kayang i-develop yung mga ano kasi literal na okupado na yung oras nyo. So itong mga to, magugulat kayo that this could be one of your most creative moments in life. So take advantage that you are actually given space to be creative in your classes. Kasi pag minsan some of your best works, it becomes the seed for your most beautiful work later on in life. Or sometimes, if you're fortunate, ngayon pa lang you're able to create something so good na probably hindi mo na mababalikan na ulit in the future.
Oo. At mamimiss niya yung mga kaklase nyo na makakatrabaho nyo ng libre. Kasi later on kasi magbabayad ka na, no? Ng mga katrabaho sa work.
Oo, totoo.